Hello everyone, Jamie Starr here for the New World News Network. Make sure you subscribe to the channel and check the links below for my other endeavors, my record label, my music, my Twitch channel, and all sorts of other fun stuff. On my music channel, you can check out me writing a large portion of a new album I'm working on, although most of the songs that are there videos will probably end up cut just because they don't fit in with the rest of that, but that's how I work. I write like 70 songs and then trim it down to 10. Anyway, National Review has come out with this article about a study that was done, I want to say 3 or 4 years ago, and it turns out that their data got switched up and the results are the complete opposite. And it's really funny because this is something that if you're paying attention, you really don't need science to tell you. You can just, take a look at any protest that's gone on in the past 2 years. So, let's delve into this. Presenting one of the most humiliating academic mistakes ever. You're going to love this one. Thanks to Stephen Hayward at Powerline, I ran across the most satisfying story I've read in years. A few readers may remember a study published in 2012 that complained that conservatives were inclined towards psychoticism, including authoritarianism. Liberals, by contrast, were more inclined towards neuroticism and social desirability. Now, we've seen studies, I covered one in the past, liberals are more likely to lie, cheat, and steal. This basically, there was an original study, they switched up the data, and this is right in line with it. To be clear, I think the vast majority of studies that purport to describe the competing psychological profiles of conservatives and liberals are just so much junk. When it comes to science, junk always gets a hearing if it pushes preferred narratives. So I distinctly remember crowing from certain quarters and now proven deficiency of the conservative mind. Except, well, oops, check out this stunning statement from the erratum published in January 2016 edition of the American Journal of Political Science. The authors regret that there is an error in the published version of Correlation Not Causation, the relationship between personality traits and political ideologies, American Journal of Political Sciences, 56 pages. The interpretation of the coding of the political attitude items in the descriptive and preliminary analysis portion of the manuscript was exactly reversed. Thus, where we indicated the higher scores in Table 1 reflect a more conservative response, they actually reflect a more liberal response. Specifically, in the original manuscript, the descriptive analysis report that those higher in Esnick's psychoticism are more conservative, but they are actually more liberal. And where the original manuscript reports those higher in neuroticism and social desirability are more liberal, they are in fact more conservative. In plain language, they exactly reverse the results. And in the original study they published it, and they were like, well, this is what we thought anyway going into it. So it just shows you they were completely wrong. And this is also the danger of people being like, oh, well, the science is in. The scientists know. The scientists have all the answers. Because they might just fuck up and switch their data up, and then they're publishing shit that's the complete opposite of what they even studied. In plain language, they exactly reversed the results. According to the actual results of the study, liberals are more authoritarian. Conservatives were inclined towards social desirability. Again, have you seen any of the protests recently? Duh. The practical results in the whole thing will now likely disappear down the memory hole. Everyone knows conservatives are the real authoritarians, so this wrong study has to be wrong. Or was the wrong study right? It's hard to keep up when the science keeps shifting. Very funny way to end it. But yeah, so just more stuff showing us that liberals are batshit crazy and psychotic, authoritarian, and conservatives are just sort of your everyday folk, and they're more charitable and more giving and more socially desirable, and probably because they're more calm and they don't care about shit like what gender pronouns you're using or whose bathroom you're going into. As long as you're not infringing on them personally, they really don't care. I don't, personally. And that's how I sort of came to aligning myself with the liberal ideologies. I started to realize the problems with the left. I started to realize the problems that everything was sort of being said in this, like the condescending Young Turks thing, where they just look at things and they're like, oh, this is ridiculous. Or the, disavow. He hasn't disavowed the white supremacy. Huh. And then there's actually never was a KKK endorsement or anything like that. Like there's a tangent idea of something where they're like, you have to disavow this imaginary thing I came up with in this situation you were never in. Huh. And as long as I talk like an intellectual snob, all of the college graduates will just believe me. Huh. And I also, at that point, though, was getting a lot of my news from The Daily Show, Jon Stewart, which we have seen completely go down the tubes. But again, all that was a mocking of conservatives. And then if you look, conservatives are actually the one with morals and backbone. And I care far more about morals than anything else. Like, when I would work in hip-hop and everything, I would always tell people, because, I was running with a rough bunch, basically. And I would try to tell people, like, I prefer being around people who, like, killed someone and shit like that, because I know there's a code of conduct. I know they're not going to act like a scumbag towards me, because they understand consequence. Like I just said in my other video, about the Canada and bestiality thing. If you have sex with an animal, we should feed you to the lions. Like, there should be consequences for actions that keep people in line. And this is the problem. I don't think prison scares anyone because it's too much just like going to school. I mean, think about it. You get a couple meals, you could probably get a degree, you get to work out, you don't have to worry about paying rent or, food. It seems so like, top-notch white-collar criminals get the country club prisons and shit. I don't see how it's a punishment, really. So, anyway, just wanted to present the study. Hope everyone enjoyed. Subscribe to the channel. Check the links below. Have a good one.